On the other hand, if you take a look at people who constantly achieve amazing things, people who appear to have a knack for making success in any area, whether it be in their careers, their relationships, their health, or even their personal development, you will begin to detect a pattern. On the surface, there is something that is hidden. In most cases, it is not solely a matter of luck or talent. Nonetheless, there are instances in which they possess a combination of both. In the end, it all comes down to the habits that people develop, continue to cultivate, and rely on a daily basis without fail. These are the fundamental activities, the actions that serve as the basis for everything else that they do in their life. In this context, I am referring to the behaviors that have become so ingrained in their identity that they no longer need to give them any thought. As time goes on, these routines become automatic. To a certain extent, this is what gives them their overwhelming power. The thing is, once a behavior has been ingrained, it does not require any effort to keep it up. You do not have to make the decision to carry it out each and every day. It is a natural occurrence. As a result, time, energy, and concentration are freed up to be used for important matters. In order to begin the process of becoming extremely effective, it is necessary to select these routines in a manner that is aware, careful, and purposeful. I would want to discuss the routines that I have observed almost every highly competent individual engaging in on a consistent basis. In the event that these routines are adhered to in a consistent manner, they generate a kind of momentum that cannot be stopped by anything. It's possible that you've already put some of these into practice. Although some of them may be new, I would recommend this. Start with a virtue, ritual, and organization. You should take each one in turn and make it your own. Include it as a component of your identity, up until the point where every routine becomes as simple as breathing. Having a clear sense of purpose is the first habit that highly effective people practice. It is like a North Star to have a purpose. Those who achieve great things almost never do so by chance, for obvious reasons. They have a profound comprehension of what it is that they desire and the reasons why it is important to them. Life is purity. They are able to establish a pattern of consistent progress thanks to this clarity. The absence of confusion or ambiguity regarding the goals that they are working for is a sign that they have clarity of purpose, even when life becomes more difficult. It is the core that propels them forward, enabling them to disregard distractions and remain devoted in spite of the difficulties they face. People who have a distinct goal in life do not rely their choices on transient feelings or the opinions of other people. As an alternative, they allow their mission to direct them, acting as a compass within themselves. This helps students stay on track in the face of adversities, which they will inevitably face. It is their purpose that guides them. Imagine you are ascending a mountain and a storm hits you. Right when you are halfway up the mountain, it is possible that the storm will persuade you to retreat from your objective, which is to just reach the summit for the purpose of reaching it. On the other hand, if you are climbing in order to demonstrate something to yourself, to accomplish a life goal, or to make a change that matters, then that reason will motivate you to persevere through the most challenging periods. When you are aware of the things that are actually important to you, there is a great simplicity. When you do this, you will be able to eliminate distractions. When things don't go according to plan, you become far more resilient and less inclined to give up on anything you want to accomplish. Highly effective people are able to direct their attention toward the things that truly matter when they have a clear understanding of their purpose. Eliminating the clutter, the tedious labor, and the potential distractions that can sap a person's vitality and passion is an important step. There are a lot of people who spend their entire life looking for a purpose. The fact of the matter is, however, that it does not always appear in a flash. It is sometimes a journey, a process of introspection, of trying multiple paths, and of finding what deeply resonates with you while you are on your journey. Take, for example, an artisan who is working on a piece of wood, meticulously carving it in order to uncover the beauty that is concealed within. It is common for purpose to develop in this manner, one layer at a time, as you ask yourself significant questions of significance. So what motivates me? What makes me happy or gives me a sense of accomplishment? Do not, however, end there. Continue your investigation and inquire about the significance of each of those things. This reason sheds light on the essence, the reason that lies underneath the desire. Several years ago, a young man approached me with a request for guidance regarding the process of locating his life's purpose. He had a lot of energy, but he felt disorganized because he was trying out a variety of occupations and interests without finding anything that truly satisfied him. I recommended that rather than concentrating on what he desired to achieve, he should inquire as to the reasons behind his desire to do it. It's not necessarily about a job or position that you have a purpose. You should consider what it is that you wish to achieve or contribute. When you describe it precisely, it is a one-of-a-kind blend of your abilities, passions, and values. You are getting closer and closer to something that is significant with each step that you take. Once you have determined your mission, it is important to safeguard it and utilize it as a basis for evaluating new chances. It is simpler to decline anything if it does not fit in with the aim that you have in mind. Clarity enables you to prioritize tasks, to proceed with self-assurance, and to steer clear of distractions that will only serve to divert your attention away from your objective. People who are very effective remain steadfast in their dedication. Define your own by taking some time. A single sentence, even if it is something straightforward, can carry an immense amount of weight. Create a note of it, please. Allow it to become a natural part of your way of thinking and behaving. A fundamental principle that you go to if you are unsure of something. Determination is made easier by purpose. Increases your determination and helps you continue moving forward even when others might give up. Concentrating on one's top priorities is the second habit that people who are very effective have. Individuals that are highly effective are able to filter through their activities, goals, and tasks in order to home in on the most important aspects of their performance. It is not the case that they disperse their time and energy in diverse ways. The numerous demands that they are subjected to on a daily basis cause them to aim it with great accuracy. They have the ability to distinguish between what is urgent and what is not, and what is of the utmost significance. Because they are concentrating on the most important things, they're able to make consistent progress toward their objectives without being distracted by the noise. Imagine a powerful magnifying glass that is, although it is capable of producing sufficient heat to start a fire, its potency is diminished if the light that it produces is dispersed. People who are considered to be very effective function with the same concentrated focus. You won't find them hopping from one activity to another. Rather, they are deliberate in their decision-making over where to put their energies. They are aware that if they attempt to do everything, they would end up achieving very little well in whatever they do. They have greater success in every aspect of their lives, from professional development to personal development, by concentrating on the few things that are most important to them. Putting things in order of importance is essential, but it is not always easy to determine what should be prioritized. It is necessary to have a clear knowledge of the things that are truly important to you and to be willing to decline opportunities that do not correspond with those beliefs, and to be willing to decline opportunities that do not correspond with those beliefs. People that are effective are aware that their time is limited. There is a finite number of hours in each day, and they make choices about how they will spend them after giving it some thought. When they are confronted with a number of demands, they ask themselves, is this absolutely necessary? This will bring me closer to achieving my goals. In the event that the response is negative, they are willing to delegate, postpone, or otherwise eliminate that duty entirely. Setting goals is consistently regarded as one of the most effective methods for determining priorities. Creating a roadmap that makes prioritization easier can be accomplished by identifying goals that are both clear and explicit. Without well-defined objectives, everything may appear to be of equal significance. However, when you have a clear idea of what it is that you want to do, it is much simpler to determine which activities would assist you in reaching that goal. People that are highly effective utilize the goals as a roadmap to choose where they should concentrate their time and energy before making any decisions. Now, focusing on priorities requires not just the ability to work on these priorities regularly, but also the discipline to do so. Doing a list of things to accomplish is not enough for effective people. Every day they make a commitment to focusing on their top objectives and making consistent progress, even if it's only a tiny amount. Give it some thought. If you were to make even a 1% improvement in a crucial area over the course of a single day, by the end of the year, that improvement would be enormous. The cumulative effect of maintaining a consistent focus over time might lead to outcomes that others may consider to be impossible. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to meet a business owner who was having difficulty expanding his company in Poland. Despite the fact that he was completely occupied, he was unable to make any headway. As a result of our conversation, it became abundantly evident that he was concentrating on low-impact activities and duties of a modest nature. As soon as he changed his attention to the most important acts that produce the most results, such as cultivating relationships with customers and improving his product, his company started to flourish. Working on the proper things was more important than working more hours. It was not about working more hours. To begin the process of cultivating this habit in your own life, you should begin by determining your highest priorities and ensuring that they are aligned with your goals. This list of priorities should be broken down into more achievable actions and make it a daily goal to ensure that you are using on at least one of them. Take the time to focus on what's really important. That is, even if it means letting go of duties that are of a lower priority. The results of your efforts will be a reflection of the focused effort you put forth when you concentrate on what pushes the needle. Relentless self-discipline is the third habit of highly effective people, and it is the one that comes next. Take risks. 100%. The capacity to carry out one's obligations, even when one does not feel like doing so, is what we mean when we talk about self. Due to the fact that it is not motivation that keeps individuals going day after day, this habit is at the center of every successful undertaking. Discipline is the key. It is possible that motivation will get you started, but discipline is what will see you through to the end of the process. Self-discipline is something that highly effective people are aware of, and they incorporate it into their daily lives through their actions. Creating routines and adhering to them, developing habits that are beneficial to them, and maintaining commitment even when it would be easier to give up are all important pieces of the puzzle. Self-control is not something that is innately present in a person. It is something that you construct. Imagine it like a muscle in your body. You will notice that it becomes stronger the more you exercise it. In the beginning, it could appear to be difficult, but as time goes on, it will ultimately become less difficult. You will also acquire trust in yourself as you work on developing your self-discipline. You start to have a profound realization that you will follow through with what you have promised to do. Establishing and maintaining this level of self-confidence is critical because it enables you to face and overcome new problems. I am aware. You possess the self-control to see them through to the end. Self-discipline is something that highly competent people do in both insignificant and significant ways. The smallest of details is where it all begins. Getting up at the appointed hour, keeping one's commitments, and adhering to a schedule are all important. When you continuously practice discipline in these smaller areas, it becomes simpler to apply that same discipline to the larger obstacles that you will face in the future. Over the course of time, these seemingly insignificant acts of self-control add up to form a foundation that enables the pursuit of more ambitious objectives appear more achievable. As an illustration, consider someone who is preparing for a marathon. It is not the case that they begin by running 26 miles on the very first day. Initially, they begin with a short distance, perhaps a mile or two, and progressively increase their endurance through the practice of discipline. Every day they achieve a little bit more success in a short amount of time. Running for longer distances will become second nature to you. Provides us with the ability to deal with the more significant obstacles that life brings our way. However, there is something that you should keep in mind. Achieving perfection is not the goal of self-discipline. People who are considered to be very effective are aware that discipline is not a destination but rather a process. There are going to be times when you fall short of your goals, but that does not mean you should give up. Efficient individuals are aware that the most important thing is to get back on track, recommit to their objectives, and go with their lives. Never slacking off is not the definition of discipline for one's attention. The key is to get back up and continue moving forward, even if you lose your footing. The reduction of decision fatigue is one of the most significant advantages that comes from practicing self-discipline. When you have set routines that are disciplined, you do not waste energy deciding whether or not to do something. This has already been decided. It is not a matter of internal debate. It's as simple as that. Because you have gained mental clarity, you are able to concentrate your energy and willpower more successfully on the things that are important to you. Avoiding becoming weighed down by a lack of decision-making. One of the business people I knew was quite disciplined, and he used it as his hidden weapon. On a daily basis, he would get up at the same hour, engage in physical activity and meditation, and then immediately begin his work. When the initial excitement begins to wear off, it is extremely crucial to exercise self-discipline. When things get difficult, it is simple to begin a new project or a new habit with excitement. Nevertheless, the true test comes later when things become more difficult. Or at this point, discipline is really necessary. People that are highly effective are able to maintain their momentum, maintaining their routines, honoring their commitments, and keeping their attention on their objectives is something that they do even when they don't feel like doing it. Their accomplishments are not the result of sporadic bursts of work here and there. Over the course of time, it is the consequence of constant and disciplined action that has accumulated. Beginning with insignificant acts of self-discipline is the best way to establish this habit in your life. You should choose one area in which you wish to develop and then make a commitment to work on that area every day. One example of this might be getting up 15 minutes earlier, devoting 10 minutes to reading, or devoting some time to working on a particular. As you gain momentum, you will discover that maintaining discipline becomes less difficult, and you will be prepared to take on more difficult problems. This unrelenting self-discipline has been necessary throughout time, has the potential to become the basis for the realization of your most ambitious goals. Continual learning is the fourth habit of highly competent people, and it is the fourth habit overall. Those that are highly effective are aware that learning does not stop once they graduate from college or complete their education. In point of fact, they are aware that the most valuable learning frequently takes place outside of the actual classroom setting. The dedication to continue developing, adapting, and expanding one's mind is what we mean when we talk about continuous learning. Knowledge is never stagnant, and this is the understanding that is required. It is continuously undergoing change. In addition, the more we learn, the better prepared we are to deal with the difficulties that life throws at us and seize the chances it presents. Individuals that make a commitment to their own education are like sponges, as they are continually taking in new information, viewpoints, and abilities. They engage in reading, listening, and questioning activities because they are aware that every discussion, every book, and every new experience has the potential to disclose a piece of wisdom that could improve their life. They surround themselves with individuals who can teach them something. Continued curiosity and a sense of modesty are essential components of this habit of lifelong learning. And acknowledging that there is always something new to learn about the world. People who are committed to learning never sit around and wait for information to come to them. They are looking for it. In the process of actively searching for methods to improve yourself, they make it a routine to ensure that they give themselves time to invest in themselves on a daily or weekly basis, to maintain the mental nourishment. When I was younger, I had the opportunity to connect with a gentleman who was very successful in the business world, but he was not content with the information that he already possessed. Every single morning, without fail, he would begin his day by reading for a full hour theoretical works on economics, history, and philosophy. In other words, anything that would broaden his awareness of the world and his perspective on it. The more I study, the more I understand how much more there is to learn, he would say on numerous occasions. He believed that his dedication to self-improvement was directly proportional to his level of achievement. And despite having accomplished a great deal, reading and other forms of formal education are not the only forms of continuous learning. Life itself is a source of education for highly effective people. They take something in, they think about it, and they gain knowledge from their experiences. Because they are aware that failure is one of the most valuable teachers, they do not fear the possibility of failing. If you are ready to look for it, every failure and every error you make can teach you something valuable. People that are very effective are adept at gleaning these lessons from their experiences, acquiring an understanding of what went wrong and modifying their approaches. Understanding that learning is a powerful antidote to complacency is another thing that effective individuals are aware of. When you are dedicated to growth, they are able to navigate a world that is constantly changing because they have developed the habit of learning, which keeps them flexible and adaptive. Due to the fact that the world is constantly moving forward, they are aware that remaining stationary poses a risk. Learning, in their view, is not just a means of maintaining relevance in the world, but also a means of maintaining full engagement in life. Here is how you can make this habit a part of your routine. To get started, set aside a little period of time every day to focus on your education. Hours are not a requirement for this. Over the course of time, even 15 minutes can make a difference. Developing a habit requires consistent practice on a daily basis. Ask yourself, what did I learn today at the conclusion of each day? Take a few moments to reflect on what you've learned. Take some time to think about the talks, experiences, and choices you've made. Recognize the lessons you've learned, even if they are only a few words long. Also give some thought to the ways in which you might use it in the future. Your capacity to gain knowledge from everything that is going on around you will improve over time if you make it a practice to reflect. Proactive issue solving is the fifth habit of highly effective people, and it is the fifth habit overall. Highly effective people don't wait for issues to come to them. They discover them themselves. They take proactive measures to think ahead of prospective problems and address them before they become impediments. They cultivate the mindset of seeing issues at an early stage and taking action to address them, as opposed to reacting to situations as they unfold. Not only does this proactive approach avoid little obstacles from developing into significant setbacks, but it also gives them the ability to move on with confidence, knowing that they have the tools to deal with whatever comes their way. A problem solving that is proactive begins with creating awareness. Persons who are effective pay attention to the details and keep an eye out for the early warning signals of problems. They are aware that even relatively minor problems, if left unaddressed, might become worse over time. Taking the time to evaluate their situation, find patterns, and anticipate potential dangers is something that they do. By maintaining a habit of vigilance, they are able to prevent problems from becoming more serious in their professional lives, personal relationships, or personal ambitions. The act of being proactive does not involve worrying about every conceivable reality. It's about becoming ready for the ones that are plausible. Paralyzed problem solvers are not effective issue solvers. They understand that not everything can be anticipated, but they are aware of the importance of having a strategy in place. They do this by using the phrase, "what if?" They frequently ask themselves, what could possibly go wrong here when they are confronted with a dilemma? And what steps can I take right now to reduce the likelihood of it happening? They are able to acquire a more comprehensive understanding of the circumstance and lessen the possibility of being taken aback by unforeseen difficulties as a result of asking these inquiries. I once had an acquaintance who was very careful about his financial situation at all times. His budget would be reviewed on a regular basis, and any necessary adjustments would be made, rather than waiting for cash flow problems to occur. Through the systematic monitoring of patterns and trends, he was able to identify potential slowdowns at an early stage and take preventative measures to ensure the stability of his organization. When the market inevitably experienced a downturn, his company managed to survive while others struggled to do so, simply because he had made preparations in advance. His proactive approach allowed him the flexibility to respond in an effective manner, despite the fact that he had not had the ability to forecast the precise time or circumstances of the problem. This habit of proactively fixing problems is equally applicable to the process of personal development. When it comes to improving their talents or addressing their flaws, highly effective people don't wait until they reach a breaking point before doing so. They make consistent investments in their own personal development, therefore enhancing their capacity for resilience and adaptation before they are put to the test. They acknowledge the fact that life would definitely bring its fair share of unforeseen difficulties. And since they are actively working to improve their talents, they are better equipped to deal with whatever challenges may come their way. Another crucial component of proactive problem solving is the ability to adjust the solution. Effective individuals are aware that even the most meticulously crafted plans do not always turn out the way that was anticipated. The attitude that they use is one of flexibility, since they are constantly modifying their strategies and re-evaluating their ideas. This flexibility enables them to adjust to changes in a productive manner, rather than being thrown off track, which in turn helps them to respond to new information as it becomes available. In light of these new conditions, they ask themselves, what is the next best action that they can take? Because of their ability to adapt, they are able to transform challenges into opportunities and failures into learning experiences. Making this a habit in your life begins with developing a mindset that is focused on finding solutions to problems. It should become a habit for you to evaluate your tasks, projects, and goals on a frequent basis. It is important to identify potential difficulties and think about strategies to overcome them before they become more severe. You shouldn't be scared to address painful truths or to raise questions that are difficult to answer. The most effective solutions are often those that are achieved by confronting problems head-on rather than attempting to escape them. Examining your previous experiences and thinking about the difficulties you've encountered is yet another method that can be helpful. Think about the ways in which you could have dealt with them in a more proactive manner. In what ways did the warning flags appear? How could you have handled the situation differently? The ability to spot patterns and enhance your approach to issue solving in the future can be gained through the process of learning from previous experiences. Continue to be receptive to feedback and various points of view. When it comes to finding solutions, it is sometimes helpful to listen to other people who could notice something that you have overlooked. People who are very effective are aware that they do not own all the answers, and as a result, they continue to be open to getting new ideas and fresh points of view. The openness of these individuals not only improves their ability to solve problems, but it also helps to develop their relationships and create a network of support. The sixth habit of highly effective people is accountability, which brings us to the next habit. Individuals that are very effective accept responsibility for their actions, what they accomplish, and the decisions they make. You have to ask a few questions. If they say in the event that things do not go according to plan, they do not attribute blame or search for an explanation. Rather of that, they question themselves, what would I have done differently for this situation? Accountability is a powerful habit because it helps people concentrate on the things that they have control over rather than obsessing on things that are outside of their control. This habit is not about blaming oneself, rather it is about acknowledging the part they play in their own success or failure and continuously gaining knowledge from their experiences. People gain the potential to develop when they are held accountable. If you are willing to take responsibility for the outcomes you have achieved, you will be able to alter those outcomes. Those who are effective know that even while life presents them with a number of unexpected obstacles, they always have the ability to choose how they will react to those challenges. They are motivated to make decisions that are beneficial, to gain knowledge from their errors, and to improve their performance over time as a result of this mindset. Without slipping into a routine of self-pity or blame, they view every failure as an opportunity for learning, and they make adjustments to their approach and refine their techniques as a result. In the past, I was acquainted with a young entrepreneur who was confronted with a challenging obstacle in his firm. However, rather than placing blame on the market, the economy, or his team, he took the time to sit down and conduct an in-depth analysis of his decisions, his management style, and his plan. It dawned on him that there were certain domains in which he had acted reflexively rather than proactively. And there were other domains in which he had failed to communicate effectively. Taking responsibility for the situation, he devised a strategy to deal with the problems, which included using new approaches and putting in place modifications. Over the course of time, his company became more successful than it had been previously. That which had the potential to be a permanent setback was transformed into a stepping stone thanks to accountability, which had provided him with the insights he had to develop. Individuals that are effective are also accountable to other people. You won't find them making promises that they can't keep. In addition, they are able to fulfill their commitments when they make them. Within their connections, whether they are business or not, this level of accountability helps to cultivate trust and respect, because they are aware that their reputation is dependent on their dependability. They go to great lengths to ensure that they continue to keep that reputation. In the event that they fail to meet expectations or make a mistake, they take responsibility for it, offer an apology if it is required, and then take action to rectify the situation. Because of this transparency, their relationships are strengthened and their credibility is strengthened as well. Establishing clear expectations for oneself is an essential component of accountability. Extremely effective people establish measurable objectives and deadlines for the work they are responsible for, so establishing a benchmark against which they can evaluate their progress. They steer clear of making commitments that are ambiguous and instead make certain that they are aware of precisely what it is that they intend to accomplish and by what date. Due to this clarity, it is much simpler for them to evaluate whether or not they are reaching their own standards, which enables them to make necessary course corrections. In the event that they are not, when they consider their objectives, they ask themselves, am I being completely honest with myself and doing everything I can to achieve this? An additional facet of accountability is being truthful with oneself about one's own capabilities and limitations, which is an extremely effective method. People don't put on an act about being perfect. They also do not avoid discussing the areas in which they could improve. They take stock of their abilities and determine the areas in which they may want further development or assistance. They are continuously pushing themselves to develop because they hold themselves to a high degree of accountability. However, they are also realistic about what they are capable of and what they are not capable of doing on their own. When they are in need of assistance, they call out to others, knowing that responsibility also involves acknowledging that it is time to bring others in. Developing accountability begins with simple acts, and you can start by creating daily goals for yourself and tracking your success at the end of each day. Being media-oriented is hard, but this makes everything easier when you work on your goals with others. You should take a few minutes to reflect on what you have accomplished and the areas in which you have failed. In order to improve your effectiveness over time, you should ask yourself what you could do differently tomorrow. Establishing this routine as a habit will allow you to exert a higher degree of control over the outcomes. One further useful method for establishing accountability is to discuss your objectives with a person in whom you have complete faith. There is an additional level of responsibility that comes along with making a commitment to another individual. You should provide them with regular updates on your progress if you're working on a project or achieving a goal. When you are aware that someone else is looking, it might serve as a source of motivation to keep you on track and fulfill your commitments. At some point in time, this practice of accountability will become second nature to you, which will strengthen your dedication to accomplishing your objectives. Next, the seventh habit of highly effective people is the practice of fostering resilience. An understanding that failures, difficulties, and roadblocks are an unavoidable component of life is a trait shared by highly competent individuals. At the first sight of adversity, they do not fall apart by themselves. They, on the other hand, endeavor to discover ways to adjust, recuperate, and continue moving forward. The capacity to recover quickly from adversity, to confront challenges with bravery, and to develop as a result of the experience is what we mean when we talk about resilience. People that are effective view periods of discomfort or failure as opportunities to develop their inner strength, increase their understanding, and refine their talents. They do not try to escape unpleasant situations. The mindset is the foundation of resilience. People that are highly effective have a growth-oriented attitude, which means they believe they have the ability to learn, adapt, and increase their level of effectiveness. They do not consider setbacks to be an indication that they are unable to accomplish what they set out to do. They view it as an opportunity to gain knowledge. This frame of mind enables individuals to perceive failure not as a point of no return, but rather as a stepping stone on the path to achieving their objectives. Having this viewpoint enables individuals to view obstacles as being temporary and gives them the motivation to find answers to those challenges. When you have resilience, every failure may be turned into a springboard for a more powerful return. Individuals who are highly effective are aware that resiliency does not include denying the existence of difficulties or denying the existence of their feelings. Confronting reality, recognizing the challenge, and making the decision to respond in a positive manner are all important aspects of this. They allow themselves the space to fully explore their feelings, but they do not allow themselves to become mired in negativity. Instead, they engage in self-reflection by asking pertinent questions. What am I able to take away from this? How can I make the most of this experience to further my development? Because of this method, they are able to work through challenging feelings and emerge from the experience more powerful than before. Flexibility is another aspect of resilience. Things do not always go according to plan, and life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Individuals who are effective are aware that having expectations that are excessively tight might result in feelings of frustration and exhaustion. They instead adjust to the shifting conditions that they are in. They have a willingness to make adjustments to their plans, experiment with new methods, and maintain an open mind to diverse points of view. As a result of this adaptability, they are able to circumvent hurdles and discover answers that may not have been obvious at first. They have the understanding that resilience is not simply about lasting, but also about developing over time. Positive self-talk is one method that may be utilized to create resilience in a practical manner. When confronted with difficulties, effective people steer clear of thoughts that are self-defeating. They have positive and uplifting conversations with themselves. In order to motivate themselves, they recall previous successes and instances in which they triumphed over challenges. In addition, the advantages that they have. This self-affirmation helps them to strengthen their determination and raise their confidence by reinforcing their belief that they are capable of overcoming challenges. Moreover, here's yet another point. People that are highly effective do not go through difficult situations by themselves. They surround themselves with upbeat and encouraging people who are there to raise them up and offer words of encouragement. People who are resilient are aware of the importance of community, and they consult with others not as an indication of their own lack of strength, but rather as a method for bolstering their own resilience. Last but not least, resilient individuals engage in self-care. They have an understanding that keeping both one's physical and mental health is essential in order to keep one's strength throughout challenging circumstances. They make relaxation, physical activity, and things that help them recharge their energy a priority. When people take care of their health, they are better able to deal with stress, make decisions that are both clear and rational, and maintain a sense of equilibrium. Even when confronted with difficult circumstances, those who make it a practice to take care of themselves strengthen their resilience and ensure that they have the resources necessary to continue to go forward. In order to develop resilience in your own life, you should begin by viewing obstacles as chances for personal development when you are confronted with difficulties. It is important to consider what you can learn and search for methods to modify your approach. Embrace flexibility. Remind yourself of the things you are good at and make an effort to communicate with those who are on your side. This pattern of resiliency will, over the course of time, become a source of self-assurance and stability, enabling you to confront any challenge with bravery and optimism. The cultivation of a positive outlook is the 8th habit of highly effective people, and it is the 8th habit overall. Maintaining a happy outlook does not include denying the existence of reality or acting as though everything is always fine. Simply put, it is about making the conscious decision to perceive opportunities where others might only see barriers. Individuals that are effective are aware that their ideas influence their actions. Through the practice of keeping a positive mindset, individuals place themselves in the best position to achieve success, even when confronted with difficult circumstances. People who wish to live a life that is successful and rewarding should make it a habit to cultivate a positive attitude, since it is a source of fuel for resiliency, creativity, and productivity. Individuals that are extremely effective are able to face difficulties with an open mind because they have a positive outlook, prepared to find answers rather than concentrating on the constraints that exist. When confronted with a task, rather than thinking this is impossible, they question, how can I make this work within my constraints? This change in thinking paves the way for opportunities that others might overlook. They are aware that every challenge presents an opportunity for personal development and personal improvement. They are able to keep their momentum going rather than feeling defeated, since they are concentrating on that potential. Individuals that are very effective are also aware of the power that thankfulness possesses. They make it a point to recognize the positive aspects of their lives, no matter how big or how tiny, particularly when they are going through challenging times. This practice of appreciation helps to keep their minds firmly rooted in happiness. They are able to maintain their motivation by building a balanced viewpoint, which is achieved by acknowledging the things that are going well. People that are effective have the ability to retain a happy mindset by utilizing these rewards, as well as cultivate a feeling of well-being. Maintaining a positive attitude does not entail ignoring difficulties or issues. People that are effective confront the world around them head-on, but they choose to do so with a positive attitude. They concentrate on the things that they are able to control, rather than fretting about the things that they are unable to control. By focusing on the things that are within their control, people are able to purposefully take actions that get them closer to achieving their objectives. This change in mentality prevents people from experiencing feelings of being overwhelmed and gives them the ability to deal with challenges with self-assurance and clarity. Currently, one of the most effective methods for cultivating a good mindset is to be attentive of the way in which one speaks to oneself. Individuals who are very effective pay attention to the way in which they speak to themselves, and they replace thoughts that are restricting and negative with concepts that are constructive and uplifting. They can say something like, "I'm getting better with practice," rather than expressing, "I'm just not good at this." Reframing one's thinking is a habit that helps one believe in themselves and lowers feelings of self-doubt. At some point in time, positive self-talk will become automatic, making it far simpler to maintain a happy attitude and maintain focus even when confronted with difficult circumstances. Positive individuals also steer clear of negative influences. They surround themselves with people who encourage them, who have faith in their capabilities, and who motivate them to be the best versions of themselves. Negativity is contagious, and people who are effective are aware of this fact, which is why they actively seek out relationships and settings that reinforce their optimistic view. The moment they come into contact with negativity, whether it is from other people, circumstances, or even within themselves, they make a conscious decision to not let it to have an effect on them. In order to maintain their concentration on the things that are genuinely important, they often remind themselves of their principles, their goals, and their vision. In addition, highly effective people find time for things that not only bring them delight, but also allow them to recover their energy. This may be something like pursuing a passion project, spending time with family, or engaging in a pastime. These uplifting encounters serve as fuel, supplying them with the emotional energy they require to It is simpler for them to approach each day with a sense of optimism and purpose when they have a life that is well-rounded and pleasant. They are aware of the fact that this will develop a foundation for positivity. To begin cultivating a good mindset in your own life, you can begin by paying attention to the method in which you communicate with yourself. To begin cultivating a good mindset in your own life, you can begin by paying attention to the method in which you communicate with yourself. In addition to making appreciation a daily habit, you should God. Please take a few minutes out of your day to make a list of 3 things for which you are thankful. Observe how this straightforward activity alters both your state of mind and your point of view. Put your attention on the things that make you happy and surround yourself with people who have a positive influence on you. You will become more resilient over time as a result of this practice, which will also provide you with a solid basis for accomplishing your objectives. Time management is the 9th characteristic of highly efficient people, and it is also one of the most important habits. Spending time is a resource that needs to be done, cannot be picked up again. People who are very effective have a profound understanding of this, which is why they make it a priority to manage their time with thought and purpose, rather than allowing each day to pass by in a haze of activity. The 3rd, success, young, rich, and poor. In addition to making the most of each and every moment, they establish clear priorities and make strategies. It is not about doing more things. That is the key to effective time management. It is up to you to act in the appropriate manner. Those pursuits that directly contribute to the achievement of the objectives and principles. Planning is an essential component of efficient time management and should not be overlooked. Individuals that are very effective plan their weeks, days, and even hours with a specific goal in mind. Specifically, they build to-do lists, establish deadlines, and schedule specific blocks of time for the tasks that are most important to them. Due to the fact that each action has a time and place in their schedule, planning enables people to avoid falling into the trap of procrastination. People who are effective are also aware of the meaning of the word no. They grasp the fact that time is a finite resource, that every time you say yes to one thing, you are also saying no to something else. When it comes to accepting invitations, projects, or responsibilities, they do not feel forced to do so. Instead, they give each chance a careful consideration, depending on how well it fits in with their objectives and principles. In the event that anything does not fit, they politely deny offering it. Because of this selective attitude, they are able to concentrate on the things that are most important to them, which enables them to create achievements that are more profound and significant, without putting too much strain on those around them. Managing one's time effectively also demands flexibility. Even the most meticulously crafted plans are susceptible to disruption, and highly effective individuals are able to easily adjust to shifting conditions. Whenever they are confronted with unforeseen circumstances, they reassess their priorities, make adjustments to their plans, and proceed without letting up on their forward pace. Effective time managers are also aware of the significance of taking pauses. They are aware that working non-stop is not synonymous with productivity. This adaptability prevents them from experiencing feelings of frustration or being overwhelmed when things do not go as expected. Preparing yourself to react when you are in flux, model effect and reflex. It also enables them to maintain their focus on the things that they have the capacity to control. In point of fact, taking pauses at regular intervals helps one's ability to concentrate, be creative, and make decisions. They are able to refuel their energy reserves and return to their task with renewed vigor thanks to these brief periods of relaxation. As a result, they maintain a sustainable level of production by alternating periods of intense concentrate with intervals of relaxation. In addition, avoiding exhaustion. One final point to consider is that Highly effective people routinely evaluate their methods of time management. They do an analysis of how they are spending their time, including the identification of any routines or activities that may be causing them to waste valuable hours. When they become aware that they are devoting an excessive amount of time to activities that are not high on their priority list, they make modifications. By engaging in this practice on a consistent basis, they are able to maintain alignment with their objectives and improve their approach to time management. Identifying your main priorities for each day is a good place to start. In addition to developing a strategy to achieve them, utilize time blocking and other tools to help you concentrate on the most important tasks and be willing to decline obligations that are not in line with your objectives. Include time for breaks, and make sure to schedule some time every week to evaluate your progress and make any necessary adjustments to your strategy. Your ability to make the most of each day will increase over time as a result of this practice, which will get you closer to achieving your long-term goals. The next habit of highly effective people is the practice of empathy, which is the 10th habit. In order to achieve success, highly effective people are aware that connections are the cornerstone of success. The ability to comprehend and establish a connection with other people is frequently the determining factor in the strength of these connections. Building trust, encouraging cooperation, and establishing an atmosphere of mutual respect are all possible outcomes of empathy, which is defined as the capacity to put oneself in the position of another person. A simple act of listening to other people is not enough. It's about giving them the attention they deserve and recognizing their points of view, as well as demonstrating real concern. The way in which they approach empathy and understanding not only makes them productive, but it also gives them a significant amount of influence in the encounters they have. Listening actively is the first step toward developing empathy. Highly effective people don't just sit around and wait for their turn to talk. They pay close attention to what is being said. At the same time that they are giving their whole attention to the other person, they are concentrating on what they are saying and avoiding the impulse to interrupt or think about how they will respond while the other person is speaking. It is a sign of respect. Through the practice of active listening, they are able to obtain a knowledge of the thoughts, feelings, and motives of others, which ultimately leads to a more profound comprehension. Empathy does not mean that one must always agree with other people. Nevertheless, it does mean that one must acknowledge and respect the sentiments and perspectives of other people. Those that are highly effective approach arguments with an open mind, making an effort to comprehend all other parties involved. How the other person is approaching they do not discard or argue with the other person, rather they ask questions, demonstrate curiosity, and make an effort to see the situation from the other person's point of view. Outside of the realm of personal interactions, the advantages of empathy are extensive. Additionally, they are essential in terms of professional situations. Employees are more emotionally invested, productive, and loyal to their leaders when they are aware that their leaders actually care about their well-being. Empathy is a practice that good leaders exhibit. Furthermore, patience is an essential component of empathy. People that are very effective are aware that everyone has their own path, difficulties, and rate of development. In a hurry, they do not pass judgment or attempt to impose their priorities on other people. Instead, they have the ability to provide understanding, support, and encouragement. They cultivate an atmosphere in which everyone feels empowered to learn and contribute by acknowledging the specific challenges and strength of individuals who are in their immediate vicinity. Small, deliberate actions are the first step in the development of empathy. In the beginning, you should make a concerted effort to listen attentively during each and every conversation. You should put aside any distractions and give the other person your whole and undivided attention. When you want to better understand someone's point of view and respond with kindness, even when you don't totally agree with them, you should practice asking open-ended questions. This practice of empathy will eventually become second nature to you, which will increase the quality of your connections and broaden the scope of your impact. Empathy is not a weakness, but rather a strength. It's something that highly effective people are aware of. The ability to generate trust, inspire loyalty, and create meaningful connections is what makes it possible for them to do so. I would say this in passing: if you feel overwhelmed, it does not matter. When empathy is braided throughout every connection, it transforms into a potent force that amplifies effectiveness in both one's personal life and one's professional life. And that is all there is to it. There are 10 powerful habits that people who are highly effective have that impact their life. These routines and acts are not merely routines or one-time occurrences. A solid foundation for success, resiliency, and fulfillment can be established through the application of these guiding principles. The kind of life that is not formed by chance, but rather is constructed with intention and purpose, is the kind of life that is contributed to by each habit. Just for a second, try to picture what your life may be like if you were to completely incorporate these routines into your own daily routine. Imagine that you are able to get up every day with a distinct goal, knowing exactly what it is that you want to do and why it is a significant accomplishment. The fact that these routines are not exclusive to a small group of people is one of the most attractive aspects of them. And Charles, my boy, it is possible to obtain them for anyone who is prepared to put in the effort, make the commitment, and take daily baby steps. When all is said and done, success is not a destination, but rather a journey. Who you become is the result of the accumulation of the decisions, activities, and routines that you engage in on a daily basis. I therefore encourage you to begin where you are, with the resources and time that you have available to you at this moment. You should pick one habit that speaks to you and make a commitment to working on it every day. Put your attention on incorporating one behavior at a time. You should go on to the next step as soon as it becomes a part of who you are. As you allow these routines to become ingrained in your life, you will start to observe a change not only in your accomplishments, but also in your approach to life and the relationships you have. Your overall feeling of purpose is also important. It will become apparent to you that difficulties will no longer feel as overwhelming, that obstacles will transform into chances for personal development, and that each day will become an opportunity to move closer to the life you picture for yourself. Keep in mind that accomplishing your goals is a process that lasts a lifetime. There are going to be times when you slip up, times when you fall back into old patterns, and times when your motivation is less. Each time you refocus, however, and each time you return to these guiding principles, you will find that by doing so, you fortify your foundation and get yourself one step closer to the life you are gradually working toward. Not only do these 10 habits help one achieve success, but they also help one develop character, resilience, and a legacy that will live for generations. It is my hope that they will motivate you, direct you, and give you the ability to create a life that is both productive and fulfilling. It is said that the trip begins with a single step, and if you have these habits in place, each step will lead you further than you ever imagined was possible. Start now, shall we? Your tale is not yet complete. It is only waiting to be written at a time. One habits that are effective.